Good, sunny, mild, increasingly light, crystal clear blue skies on this very, very late spring, very late May, approaching the start of summertime in the greater Roseville metropolitan area in the great state of Michigan, right? We looked at Bitcoin earlier. We looked at XLM for that guy. Like, subscribe, and share. Links are in the description. Donate to the channel as a guy out of China donated $100 last night. Very, very grateful and very shocked by the amount and the generosity of that donation. But if we look at Digibyte, we're going to go Digibyte, Zill, and then some other random crap real quick. So just like I was saying yesterday, you're kind of forming this in a lot of these coins, right? Upper resistance, right? Pull that back out here to there to here, right? This is kind of what we're in right now in Digibyte. Remember, I had the phenomenal Digibyte sell way up there. Let's pull our favorite and industry exclusive and soon to be YouTube famous line tool with an arrow, aka the perching tool, and we're gonna perch from the overhead 200. Remember when I called that? I had an emergency sell alert out right there, and I said the price was gonna bang, come way down, and our first target was here, and then here, and then there. But it's a stepping pattern. You go down, you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, you go up. But this overhead 200 and the overhead 50 are now acting as resistance, when before they acted as support, and way back there it was support the whole way up. Now they're going to be resistance because you're in a downtrend and in a bear market, right? The bull market's over. But just as I digress, we move this from here because the price action has moved to where the overhead 200 will be in the next few days. Pull that down here. The overhead resistance in our pattern is 0.65 cents. And then we're going to pull out a clone right here to there. And then we grab him down to there on the here. And our lower support in this descending triangle, or a bearish continuation pattern, is 5 cents. Our upper resistance is about 6.5 cents. And then the 200-day moving average, where this one's floating out, by the time if it's not up there in the next couple of days, early this week coming up, that's about where it would hit at about 7.5 cents. So if I'm watching DGB today, you could come up here, then you'd probably come back down here to lower support, then come back and retest, and then you got to make your decision. Do you break up or do you break down? You see that? And we're still looking at volume. The volume is still dying. Eventually, there's going to be buy volume come in, and you're going to have a big bounce. It's just, where does that big bounce happen? The jabronis were speculating it would be up here, up here, up here, and it hasn't happened yet, and that's why I called them jabronis. We're still keeping an eye on it. This is what I would watch in Zill today, or in Digibyte. The breakup of over that 6 cent mark, hit that overhead 50, which is the blue line, straddle along that for a little while, pour a little pointer tool out, and then come up to upper resistance. I don't think you're ready to break that yet. I think you're going to come back down. And then maybe tonight when the futures market opens up, or Monday or Tuesday, you can make a run up at that upper resistance. But we're going to keep an eye on that, right? And Digibyte, we did XLM, Ethereum, same thing. Ethereum's following our track beautifully. I say I superimpose that track. And remember, we can move these down now because price action is moving. Upper resistance, right? Then this is forming the same kind of triangle. We'll pull out our line tool right here. It's forming the same thing. You see that it's not that hard if you draw it out. And yeah, that track behind it is what I superimpose. The same with Bitcoin. And you can see it's followed it beautifully since the blow off top. It crashed and it came back up. Then it crashed with the price. Now it bounced. Now it came back down. And now, and now it's coming back up. Right? So I think that's a beautiful, what we got going on there as far as where this track is headed. I think we're on the right track. And you can see when we pour a little down here to there to here on the overhead 200, we're going to perch again, industry exclusive perching tool. Look at me. Hey, look at me. If you want to look at me, Vincenzo, this is me. If you want to feel like you're looking at Vincenzo, right here, look at me, right? Just look right there. But you can see it's following it beautifully. Remember right here, actually down here, we said if we pump, we could come up to this major overhead resistance now that used to be major overhead support when we were in a rising wedge, and we dissected that and knew the price was going to come down. And our first target for the last 4 weeks as Ethereum was moving to 3,000 and 4,000. We saw when it crashes, and it's about to, your first target's 1,075, but you got to trade that way. We got through 1744 right off the bat, bounced back up to that overhead resistance that we said you would get rejected. Our track showed that, and now we came to lower support. Now our track says you should get a benign little bounce, right? You see that? We should get a little bounce to upper resistance. So in Ethereum, here's what I think you're going to do. You're going to fight and trade in here, and then you might try to retest your upper resistance, and then you'll get rejected, right? So pay attention to that. You have your targets here. There's your upper resistance, right? Fucking trading view. Let's pull this over. There's your lower support, right? Fuck. This is the stupid fucking shit with TradingView, dude. Like, what are you doing? Fuck. It'll pull every fucking thing but what I want. Get that fucking shit out of there. Jesus. Fucking TradingView, if you're out there, fix this fucking shit. Like, come on. It's a joke. Here's your lower support, right? Here's your target way down there that we're eventually going to. That's what I'd pay attention for in Ethereum. To go back down here and look at some of these coins that people like. ADA, we've had a lot of requests for that. You see, we did some work. Let's clear this shit out. We did some work on here, and now it's just kind of following our track. I don't pay attention to it as much, so it's all dirty. But the same thing here, I would say ADA. You're meeting overhead resistance right now, but major overhead resistance is at $1.85. You got medium resistance at $1.64, and then major support at $1.31. But we have much lower targets for ADA, right? I think eventually this thing's going to break down. Get rid of some of this shit. I don't know what all this is. I was obviously drawing. We're out of that now. We don't need that. We don't need that, and we don't need that, and we don't need that. Don't need that or that. I should have pulled the eraser out. So we don't need any of that. You see your blow off top way up there. We're not going back there anytime soon. ADA, here's what I would pay for today. If you can break this and you're upper head 50, you can come retest for fabulous, phenomenal, glowing, gorgeous jabroni suckering in double top, and then you crash back down. Or you're going to get rejected by the overhead 200 and you're coming back down. Pay attention for that in ADA today. We had a phenomenal call that ruffled some feathers because we tried to give assistance on VeChain. Now it's starting to bounce back, but remember VeChain? Fuck. Remember, you guys remember this? This is what started the ruffling of the feathers, right? I made a prediction when the price was, just as a warning to try to help a very loved brother of mine that took offense, which his subscribers took offense, so then therefore he took offense. We said it could probably come down in this bear flag, which it did right away, and then we said there's no volume, so it's probably going to break down out of that, and it did, right? And now you're coming back up on a pump because you're oversold, and now here's our new targets, right? Lower support down there, right? Let's clone that. Then if we move this up here, you got your overhead 200, which is going to be about right there is your major overhead resistance. That'll be a little higher. Be like right there, right? And then we're going to clone this. Right, you see that? And then this is your medium current patterns overhead resistance, right there. So in VeChain, remember that phenomenal call. You can just move these lines down, and you see that line that we forecasted back there is still acting as overhead resistance, and this bottom is still acting as underneath support. So that's what I would play for. You could be bouncing around still in this, right, the next couple of days. If you try to pop up here to this overhead green line, which would be there, is the overhead 200. I think that's where you'd get rejected if you break up, if we don't see any volume. Like, subscribe, and share. I'm not a financial advisor, nor do I play one of my own radio show. This is strictly educational and entertainment purposes only. Thank you for watching and listening to my Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing Radio Network. Peace and love. Peace and love.